Why do people dance? We're going to talk about dance and the functions it plays in many cultures. In our lives, we often think of it as an activity for fun or for exercise or something performed to entertain other people. In the course, we've already discussed how it can be part of rites and rituals in other cultures for spiritual or religious purposes. We've talked about how it can manifest some piece of music, act out a story. This video is going to go into more detail about dancing and the role it can play in many cultures. It's especially going to focus on the example of Hawaiian dance because that is typical in many ways of what a lot of other cultures do with dance. Actually, before talking about any of that though, I want to talk about Tai Chi. Perhaps you've seen Tai Chi. Maybe you've seen a bunch of elderly people in a park performing Tai Chi or seen it in a video. It's that group exercise where people are standing there slowly doing flowing, gentle movements in a meditative fashion. Believe it or not, that actually started out as a way of training warriors. Picture two warriors in, say, a kung fu movie. They're fighting. One guy goes to hit another, the other guy deflects it. That offensive movement and that defensive movement would be something that they practiced slowly and carefully hundreds of times to get to the point where it became automatic, so that in a fight they could do it instinctually perfectly. That's what Tai Chi originally started out as. Slow, repeated movements so that your gestures would be perfected to the point where you could just do them perfectly automatically in an actual fight. What this has to do with dance and dance today is I'm trying to help you see it as something that could possibly be used as a way of training warriors. You may have seen a Samoan haka, that dance where the warriors get together and they do that really intimidating shouting and dancing to intimidate the enemy. You may know that some countries in Africa have people who do war dances, or that there are native tribes in the Americas where people do war dances. And in ancient Hawaii, this was also true. In fact, the very first hula dances were done by men only, warriors. The most ancient type of Hawaiian dance is called kahihiko. It was practiced in secret for religious purposes, and only rulers and shaman could participate. The movements were simple and rigid, not like hula dancing today. When you picture a hula dancer, you probably picture a woman with flowing gestures dancing to some beautiful melodies. This was not like that. Kahihiko had simple, rigid movements, and the songs were more like religious chants, not like the melodies with musical instruments that we picture now for hula. To understand the difference, it might help you to picture ancient Christian religious chants versus hymns of today. Like you can picture some ancient medieval monks, and they're singing Pie Jesu Domine Dona Eis Requiem, versus, the beautiful hymns we have nowadays, love divine, all love's excelling, joy of heaven to earth come down. These pretty melodies that we have were nothing like the ancient chants in the early days of the religion. Likewise, kahihiko chants were not like the hula songs of today. I can't show you an example of a kahihiko chant because they were secret. A chant in Hawaiian nowadays sounds like E ho mai ki ke mai luna mai e o na me huna no ya o na me e ho mai e. So you can hear that sounds very different from pearly shells or some pretty Hawaiian hula melody that you might have heard. Even that chant, which I just gave you, which is modern, that is sort of a religious one, asking spirit guides, ancestors to grant us wisdom. Nowadays, chants and songs can be about anything. Songs can be about love. They can be about the beauty of nature. You can have prettier melodies. Haina ia mai and a kapuana, eo he vai au hi and hi. Anything goes now, completely different from the kahihiko days. The second oldest form is kahiko. The songs were more melodic, but not as melodic as today, and they were accompanied by drums. A drum is an ipu. Possibly when you picture ancient people drumming, you maybe picture someone wearing animal skins. They have a drum that's an animal skin stretched over a wooden frame. But if you live on a tropical island, you may be making your drums out of gourds. Your clothing you're going to make out of plant fibers, which is an extremely difficult and time-consuming, laborious process. But the Hawaiian drum is going to be an ipu. This is only a tiny ipu. I didn't invest in a big ipu heke, big double drum, because I'm not a very good drummer. So more about that later, I guess. Kahiko songs still revolved around religion and around rulers. They're often in praise of royal figures or tell stories of the gods. The movements are still kind of rigid, and it was still danced only by men for a long time. It's still danced today. In fact, any student in a hula school today will learn a couple of certain kahiko dances. For example, they all learn one about King David, Kalaka'awa, more about him in a moment. And hula was repressed for a long time by foreign influences. In the kahiko days and kind of before Awana was able to develop, hula dancing was suppressed. Like, missionaries came to Hawaii and told the people that that kind of dancing was inappropriate. It wasn't Christian. Foreign rulers that King David met with told him, in other countries they're not doing this. Why are you doing this? We don't do that. The fact that he had by the way, his name, King David, his real name was Kalaka'awa, but foreign influences, they were meeting other cultures, and he took the English name David, which in Hawaiian is translated as Kavika, because Hawaiian doesn't have the same alphabet as English does, and he really was named Kalani Kavika Kalaka'awa. Anyhow, the point is foreign influence, and King David is the one who brought hula back and allowed it to flourish again. And for this, he was called the Merry Monarch. And in fact, even today, every year there's a Merry Monarch festival, and hula dancers from all over the world come to Hawaii to compete, to see who's the best in all the different styles. So modern Hawaiian dance now is Awana. Women dance it even more now than men do. And the songs, again, they can be about anything. Love songs, the beauty of nature, funny songs, all different kinds of songs, and more instruments are used, like the ukulele. A fun fact about the ukulele is that uka means flea, and lele means hop. So the ukulele is named for that plink, plink, plink sound of the strings, like a little flea hopping. So even though dance is no longer limited to warriors and shamans, the connection between rites and rituals, which we discussed in class, and dance and martial arts is still strong. To help you picture this, I want to use an example that you may be familiar with, which is a dojo and a sensei. Martial arts, a lot of us have seen martial arts films, and we know that all the martial arts students are practicing in the dojo. They're overseen by the sensei, the master, the teacher. In the same way, a hula school, a halau, has a kumu, a teacher, and the students are the haumana. And just as in the dojo, where there's all these rites and rituals and certain bows and certain things that you say, different protocols about what you wear, likewise is true in a halau. As a hula student, you will wear a pa'u skirt that looks like this, like a Hawaiian dance skirt. And, you know, in today's modern world, on top, you're going to probably wear the t-shirt of your halau to practice in. The halau that I'm a member of it does business under the English name Healing Hula, but its real name is Hula Halau Ho'okamaha'o, which means making wonderful and marvelous connections.